Welcome back to Learn English Naturally, where we kind of take those like everyday situations and break down the language you need to navigate them, with confidence.
Right.
And today we're diving into the world of taxis and rideshares.
Ooh, fun.
Think about it. You've just landed in a new city, maybe even a new country for you,
Yeah?
and you need to get to your hotel.
Yeah.
Knowing how to communicate clearly and effectively with your driver can make all the difference in your travel experience.
You're absolutely right.
So,
It's about so much more than just getting from point A to point B.
yeah.
It's about feeling comfortable, confident, and empowered to interact in English, even in a potentially stressful situation, like traveling in an unfamiliar place.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's unpack this.
Okay.
First things first.
Yeah.
What are we actually talking about when we say taxis and ride shares?
Right.
I mean, we all know those classic yellow cabs, right?
Yes.
But things have changed a lot in recent years with the rise of apps like Uber and Lyft.
Exact. It's important to understand the distinctions, especially if you're traveling to a new city.
Okay.
Traditional taxis are usually metered, meaning the fare is calculated based on the distance traveled.
Right.
You can typically hail them on the street or find them at designated taxi stands. Ride shares, on the other hand, are prearranged through an app, and the fare is usually calculated and displayed before you even get in the car.
Oh, that's helpful.
Much more transparent.
Yeah, much more transparent.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to some key vocabulary that you'll definitely want to have under your belt.
Yes.
We've got surge pricing, which can be a bit of a shock if you're not prepared for it.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever experienced that where you open the app and suddenly the prices are through the roof?
Oh, absolutely. It's crazy.
It's a classic example of supply and demand in action.
Right.
During peak hours or special events when there's a high demand for rides, the prices can surge dramatically.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You can actually use this knowledge to your advantage.
Oh, and if you have some flexibility in your schedule, try checking the app at different times to see if the surge has subsided.
That's a great tip. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have flat rate.
Okay.
This can be a real lifesaver, especially when you're traveling to or from the airport and you just want to know exactly how much you'll be paying.
Right. A flat rate means the price is fixed regardless of the time or distance it takes to reach your destination.
Okay.
This can be especially helpful in unfamiliar cities where you might not be familiar with the routes or traffic patterns.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So whether you're dealing with surge pricing or a flat rate, it's important to understand how to talk about money matters politely and effectively with your driver.
Yeah.
How might you ask about the fare, for example?
Well, there are a few ways you could approach this. You could simply ask, "Could you tell me the approximate fare, please?"
Okay.
Or if you're concerned about a potential surge, you could be more specific and say something like, "Is there a surge in effect right now?"
That's great. I like that. And what about tipping?
Ooh, yes.
I know that can be a bit of a cultural minefield with different customs in different countries.
Absolutely.
So what about English-speaking countries?
In many English-speaking countries, tipping is expected for both taxi and rideshare services.
Okay.
A good rule of thumb is to tip around 15–20% of the fare for good service.
Okay.
You can simply round up the fare to the nearest dollar or add a few extra dollars if you're particularly happy with the ride.
I like that.
Yeah, just to show your appreciation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered some essential vocabulary and how to talk about money matters.
Right.
But what about the actual journey itself? I mean, how do you give clear directions and make sure you get where you need to go?
Right. That's where knowing some basic directional phrases comes in handy. Turn left, turn right, go straight. These are simple but essential instructions that will help you communicate effectively with your driver. But here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
What if you're not sure of the exact address, or if you want to take a specific route?
All right, you can't always rely on GPS, especially if you're trying to avoid traffic or tolls, or maybe you want to see a particular landmark along the way.
Exactly. So in those cases, you need to be able to articulate your preferences clearly.
Okay.
For example, you could say, "Could you please take the scenic route?" Or, "Can we avoid the highway?"
I like that.
And if you're unsure of the address, you can always provide landmarks or general directions like, "It's near the big park," or "It's about a 10-minute drive from the stadium."
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Those are great examples. And it reminds me of a time when I was traveling in a foreign country and my driver didn't speak much English.
Oh.
I had to rely on a combination of basic phrases, hand gestures, and even drawing a little map on a piece of paper.
That's great.
It was definitely a challenge, but we managed to communicate in the end.
That's a great anecdote.
Yeah.
It highlights how even in situations where there might be a language barrier, A bit of creativity and resourcefulness can go a long way.
Okay.
And speaking of challenges, what happens if you realize you're heading in the wrong direction, or if you need to make a quick stop along the way?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I know from experience that it can be a little awkward to correct a driver, especially if you're not sure if you're in the right or not.
It's all about being polite but assertive.
All right.
You could say something like, "Excuse me, I think we may have missed a turn," or "Could we please stop at a pharmacy? I need to pick up some medicine." The key is to be clear and direct without being confrontational.
Right. And remember, most drivers are just trying to do their job and get you to your destination safely. A
Exactly.
little courtesy and understanding can go a long way.
Absolutely.
Now, I know we've been talking a lot about practicalities, but I think it's also important to remember that a taxi or rideshare ride can be a great opportunity to practice your English in a real-world setting.
Oh, for sure.
Don't be afraid to strike up a conversation with your driver, ask them about their city, or even just chat about the weather.
I couldn't agree more. Every interaction is a chance to learn and improve your language skills.
Right.
And you might even pick up some valuable tips or insights about the local culture.
Absolutely. It's all about embracing the experience and using every opportunity to engage with the language.
Yeah. Now, to really bring all of this to life, I thought it might be helpful to role play a couple of common scenarios you might encounter when using a taxi or rideshare service. Would you be up for that?
I'm always up for a good role play. What did you have in mind? All right, let's do it. How about we start with a scenario where you're arriving at the airport and need to get to your hotel. I'll be the traveler fresh off a long flight, and you can be the friendly rideshare driver.
Sounds good to me. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, here we go. Hi there. Are you my Uber driver?
That's me.
Yeah.
Welcome to City Name. What name should I be looking for in the app?
It's under your name. Thanks for picking me up. I'm heading to the Grand Hotel downtown.
No problem at all. The Grand Hotel. It is. I'll get you there in no time. How was your flight?
It was pretty long, but I'm glad to finally be here.
Mm-hmm.
Is there usually a lot of traffic at this time of day?
It can be a bit busy around this time, but I know some back streets that will help us avoid the worst of it. Sit back and relax.
Perfect. And hey, while we're on the subject of navigation, could you tell me if it's customary to tip rideshare drivers here? I'm not familiar with the local customs.
That's a great question. Tipping isn't mandatory here, but it's certainly appreciated for good service. If you're happy with the ride, you can add a tip in the app after we arrive.
Great. Thanks for letting me know. I always want to make sure I'm following the local etiquette.
I appreciate that. It sounds like you're off to a good start with your English skills, too. You're communicating very clearly and confidently.
Thanks. I'm trying my best. It's so helpful to be able to practice in real-world situations like this.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to ask questions if you're ever unsure about something.
Yeah.
Most people are happy to help.
That's reassuring to hear. Okay, so we've covered arriving at the airport and getting to the hotel. What about a scenario where you need to give more specific directions or maybe even correct the driver if they've taken a wrong turn?
Let's give that a try. This time I'll be the one who needs to give directions. Imagine we're heading to a restaurant that's a bit off the beaten path.
Right, I'm ready to navigate.
Okay, so after we pass the park, could you please make the next right turn? It'll be a small street. Might be easy to miss.
Got it. Next, right after the park.
Exactly. And then it's the third left. The restaurant is on the corner. You can't miss it.
I think you might have meant the second left. I'm pretty sure I saw the restaurant back there.
Oh, you're absolutely right. My mistake. Could you please turn around when it's safe to do so? I always get those two streets mixed up.
No worries at all. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah,
I'll keep an eye out for a safe place to turn around.
I really appreciate it. See, even when things don't go exactly according to plan, you can handle it smoothly with a little bit of clear communication.
Exactly. It's all about staying calm, being polite, and using the language we've learned today to navigate any unexpected turns. And you know what? I think that's a great place to wrap up our deep dive into the world of taxi and rideshare English.
I agree. We've covered a lot of ground today, from essential vocabulary to practical tips for giving directions, handling money matters, and even navigating unexpected situations.
And most importantly, we've seen how even a simple taxi ride can be a fantastic opportunity to practice your English and gain confidence in your communication skills.
So whether you're a seasoned traveler or just starting to explore the world, remember that clear communication is key to a smooth and enjoyable journey.
We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into taxi and rideshare English. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the fascinating world of English learning. Until next time, happy travels and keep practicing.